That is the sound of excellence that you are so familiar hearing here at Run Pure Sports. It's Monday night, swing for the fences. What a great time for sports. We say this several times a year, but the Masters just ended. The golf season is in full swing. NBA playoffs are underway. A big weekend for a lot of our guys, including Big T, hitting on the showdown last night for a cool $22,000. Big weekend all over for Run Pure Sports. And now we get a relatively, as I described on the playbook, guys, curious 6-game slate because the highest total is the Braves at 5-1. We've seen this novel before where the Braves have the highest total. They look to be the most popular team, but it looks like maybe their bats are coming to life. But the pitching is really interesting because you have some good quality pitchers, but you have them in some pretty neutral to even below average spots for opposing pitchers. So nobody projects well. No offense projects particularly well. No pitcher projects particularly well. There's at least one guy that I think, if everything goes right, could be a little bit underprojected. But we're going to talk about all that. We've got 6 games and we have an hour, maybe a little bit less. We'll see. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat here, and we will get to them. Big T, you're wearing your yellow for me, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the fact that you are coming in here on a Monday full of potassium. What's going on?
Yeah, I had to get my Nugget stuff on. I was only going to wear the yellow shirt, and then I remembered how much you love when I come in full yellow, come in hot. So I knew you were going to be on it. I had to do it. And like you said, another fun sports night. We got a couple NBA games. I like the short slates too. And DK gives us the $5 big tournament for baseball, which I love. I love being able to just pop 150 in there. Cycle it around, especially with 6 games. I saw JT almost shipped. He didn't talk about himself. 3rd place again. What was it, yesterday or the day before? Yesterday.
The key there is 3rd place again. 3rd place again. But we'll get
to
the
10K. You can give me 10K on a Sunday. I'll move on to Monday.
Jesus, he is risen. I mean, we celebrated. We played with eggs. I mean, it was beautiful.
I'll take 3rd place tonight for 10K. Yeah. Can I sign up for it right now? I don't have any pride. I don't need to get to 1st. I'll take 3rd.
Give me that a few times a week. We'll be happy.
Stack, though. Me and Uncle T were loving it at lunch. Just seeing the Reds, the 8-9 bombers in there, 40 pieces from both of them. Absolutely loved it. But this is a fun slate. I love 6-game slates in baseball because we can load up some stuff. The hard part is kind of what JT was saying, where it is a little uglier, which is nice to have that $5 where we can. We can get a little creative. We don't have to dive in on the same spot and stuff. So I'm looking forward to diving in on it because I think it's a slate that if you like some stuff, I think you can get a little bit of an edge here because it's pretty flat, I would say, overall for a 6-game slate.
Yeah, I think so too. And I have a couple of stands that we'll dig into as I was going through the playbook and looking at some of the advanced metrics for some of these guys. And you've got some names on this slate that have been names in the major league for years, and maybe they're not the same quality as they have been, but definitely interesting. You mentioned the $5. We're in on that one. I think I saw you with the top 5 in that one of the days last week where they ran the $5 or the $8 on Friday night. I think was one there. Vip is in here. Vip, I definitely was running around the house in my bunny costume yesterday as I watched both Noelvi Marte and Austin Wynns hit their first home run since Little League DC. Listen, I'm glad nobody asked me, how did you get to this lineup? Because literally I had, 3 or 4 red stacks out of 85. But that was all I needed.
You played 85 teams. You're like the AP where you play like a random number. You just guess.
No. It was so you kind of do a little bit of math based on probability and the payout structure.
You know what probabilities based on?
Yeah, I did. And I say, well, DC, this is the last time I won first. DC and I were in Chicago, and I'm getting ready, and I said, I'm not sure. And I'm looking at the thing, and I go, I think I'll play 85 lineups. And he goes, That's an oddly specific number, and it makes me worry about whether or not you're a psychopath. And I might be, DC, but yes, I was running around the house. I was running around the house in a bunny costume, DC. How did you spend your Easter Sunday?
Not as well as you spent yours. I didn't get the 10 stacks in the baseball streets. I'm feeling a little left out. Big T's had some big scores recently. JT with the 10 stacks yesterday. So maybe we'll make tonight my night. And that $5. And I'm not as crazy as JT. Like, don't try to pretend there's some logic or probability behind your 85 lineups.
There is.
No, there's not. I'm throwing 100 in there, even 100. Is that okay, Big T? Can you throw 100 lineups, or do you?
I like 50 or 100 or 150. Yeah. I like 20 even. I like the even numbers like that.
So you believe that the even metric divisible by 10 is more reasonable than any other divisible?
I will say, though, you keep winning with your weird numbers. Yeah. AP wins with like 37 teams and stuff. Like, if that's the number, I'll enter 78 teams tonight if that's what I need 100%.
To do. If you can just show me this secret math you got going on, JT, I'll enter whatever random number. Hell, I'll get over 150. I'll get on the girls' account and play 227 lineups if I got to do it to get to the top 3. So we'll see you tonight. But yeah, awesome time of year. Timberwolves looking good. I'm bought back in after one game of Timberwolves playoff basketball. We know how that ends every single year, but it's fun to delude myself once again. And a fun baseball slate, 6 games, like you said. And yeah, looking at the projections, like you said, no super high or super low team totals. Everything's super flat. Even like the pitcher, point per dollar projections look, I mean, a lot of these guys are kind of grading out close to the same in terms of that. So I've got a couple stands I'm taking on this slate, which I almost think you have to do that a little bit more on slates like this, where everything looks kind of congested and similar. I don't know. I don't just want to have 15% of all of these pitchers, whatever it is. So I'll be taking some stands tonight, hoping to come out ahead on some of those and hopefully get some lineups up near the top like you guys have recently.
Beautiful. Once again, drop any questions in here. Like I said, 6 games. James Forstrom is in here talking NBA, which is acceptable this time of year for Run Pure Sports. He's got a big update for Big T. He says that Isaiah Stewart is out for Detroit. So just want to let you know that. See how that changes your projections and player pool, which are going to be up along with your player pool, slate builder, cores. People will be in Discord. I just hit send on the playbook. Didn't talk as much about offense as I did about pitching because I think offense is just as kind of curious and could be as random tonight as I think some of the pitching is. So we'll get into the leans. We'll get into the games. We'll start with yesterday's darlings, my favorite team for 4 hours, the Cincinnati Reds heading into Miami, taking on the Marlins. Nick Lodolo at 8,700, Max Meyer at 7,600. 4.2 for the Reds total, DC, 4 for the Marlins. Big T, we'll start with you. I mean, a really, really good weekend, taking advantage, I think, of the Orioles' dearth of pitching, their poor pitching. They ran out Charlie Morton yesterday, and it looks like the end is near for Big Chuck. Big contributor to the Atlanta Braves over the course of his career, but it's not looking good. They had a very limited bullpen yesterday, and they got taken advantage of. The Reds scored 24 runs. Marlins come back late in Philadelphia. The Marlins have been peskier than anybody expected them to be. They have not been quite as bad. In fact, not nearly as bad. Some of these guys are starting to look like major league hitters. They get Nick Lodolo, who has been okay this season. Strikeout rate a little bit lower. Some of that due, I think, to the matchups that he's had. But these Marlins aren't striking out as much against lefties. All things being said, I do think Lodolo could be a boom-bust guy here. He could be the pitcher who's most underprojected, just based on what has gone on with him this season. It also could be the case where these Marlins are seeing the ball very well right now. What are your thoughts here on the Reds and the Marlins in Miami?
I'm so happy you went to me first, too, because DC did not believe in his boy, Mr. Meyer, the last time we were on here. He was so scared of these Arizona freaking lefties just pissing his pants, and he didn't want to play the GOAT Kenny Powers. Yesterday, I had to send him a picture because he was in his core. Now today, I know for a fact he's going to come back with his boy Meyer. So come full circle, he's going to be right back on the two guys I told him to play the last time we were on the show. But this game is actually one of the most clear games of the slate for me, where I think it's all pitchers. This park, I love this park for pitchers. The Reds have been hot, but this is this park sucks. I think Meyer is really good, which DC was right about first. He shouldn't have freaking got off for the Arizona game.
Well, I got to play him all 33 starts all season.
Yeah,
Every single
go down with the ship. Yes, you're on him. But this game to me is the easiest game of the slate. It is pitchers, and I love both of them. I think both. Lodolo is up and down, but this matchup I think is really good for him. I know Miami's been pesky, but I'm all in on the pitchers here. No real strong hitter takes, so I love this game.
All right. DC, I'm gonna say this first. So Big T's in on the pitchers. And Big T, close your ears here, right?
No, don't go to the hitters here.
Big T, close your ears.
I want to hear it. I don't want to even earmuffs. I want to hear you say
you don't want the earmuffs?
Remember next show.
All right. So DC, I did what we often do here when we see a pitcher whose results don't really match up what we expect. And this is where I'm torn on Nick Lodolo. Velocity on every pitch, a tick down. Strikeout rate, about 55% of where we would expect it to be. Again, I think some of that is matchup driven. But the Marlins haven't been striking out against left-handed hitters. They actually put some runs up on Jesus Luzardo yesterday, then got some more runs against the bullpen. I like Lodolo here. I think he's underprojected. But I can also see where maybe the Marlins will put up some runs here. I'm totally off the Reds offense. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you said Lodolo boom or bust pitcher, which is exactly what I would describe.
On this slate, yep.
I think he's kind of like that on all slates. I mean, there are times when you watch him pitch and he looks like he could strike out anybody. And so it's, I've definitely, drank the Lodolo Kool-Aid from time to time. Probably overall just kind of been even on him. He's had some big starts for me. He's also had plenty of blow-up starts where I've had him in a significant amount of my roster. So he can be all over the place. And I know, like you said, Miami, they have been feistier offensively this year than people expected. I don't think there's any denying that. I still think, long-term, this is going to be a really good matchup for opposing pitchers. So hard not to like Lodolo here. Also, just had a kid coming off paternity leave. So I don't mind, a little extra rest there. He's got to be feeling good going into this game. I do like Lodolo quite a bit. The Marlins rolling out, I believe, 2 players making their MLB debut tonight. Augustine Ramirez, Ronnie Simone. Both of them look okay. Like Simone, yes. I think Simone's in the player pool.
Simone is in the player pool. As Captain let us know early this morning, Agustin Ramirez is not in the player pool, and he has sent a note to the White House. So I expect that this is going to get rectified sooner rather than later.
Yeah, but Lodolo, I mean, he gets out of Great American Ballpark where he's had trouble, home run trouble. Most pitchers do, and now he gets to pitch in one of the better pitchers' parks in baseball in Miami. So you got to like Lodolo here. Also, extreme pitchers umpire in this one, Scott Berry behind the plate, which can help out a guy like Lodolo who can struggle with command at times. So I'm with Big T here. I'm on both of these pitchers, Max Meyer and Lodolo. I think it's really close between the two, especially when you add in, or when you factor in the $1,100 price discount you get on Max Meyer. And it does look like even with the discount, more people are playing Lodolo than Meyer, which I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's very, very close between the two. So I'll take the price and ownership discount with Meyer if I'm forced to choose between the two on a single entry, something like that. But I like both these guys. No problem at all playing the 2 pitchers in the same lineup. I know some people don't like to do that. On this slate, on a 6-gamer, I mean, you don't need probably 25 or 30 from your starting pitcher. So I don't think missing or I guess like the anti-correlation, right? You can't get a win from both of them in the same lineup. I'm not really worried about that tonight. So I'm in on both these guys. I do think Meyer's the better play once you, like I said, factor in price, ownership, and all that. But yeah, I like both these pitchers. Both of these guys. These are two of the four. My 100 lineups, I've got narrowed down to 4 pitchers. These are 2 of them. I'll have around, both these guys in about half of my lineups that I make. So I'm in. Hitting wise, Meyer has missed a lot of bats. I will say he's been hit very, very hard when he has allowed contact, both this year and in his brief seasons going back. The Reds, despite their outburst yesterday, don't have a ton of power, but of course, Ellie De La Cruz in the middle of that lineup, I think, remains an elite play against Max Meyer. I don't think I'm going much beyond him in terms of Reds bats. And then on the Marlins side, they do have some cheap guys I think you can work in. Connor Norby hitting third, and then Ronnie Simone, switch hitter, hitting ninth, stone minimum 2K. I think he's a pretty good play down there at the bottom of the lineup as well. But not many bats here. Give me the pitchers in this first game.
Can certainly tell that DC does not have children talking about a little bit extra rest for new dad Nick Lodolo.
It's a couple days off with the arm.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the way that at least it's not the way that it went for me early going. Big T's been through this a few times now, 3 times to be exact.
I remember getting more rest. I'll say that.
But he is on the road, so maybe you get away from the hospital. You get
a little stress off. To DC's point, though, you do feel like you feel revived a little bit. I don't know about more rested, but you feel better about things.
All right. We'll move on to the next game, and this is an interesting spot. DC, will stick with you. San Diego heading into Detroit. San Diego playing Sunday night. DC mentioned Connor Norby, Kreitzton. Dane Myers in the middle of that lineup shows a little power too. San Diego heading into Detroit. We've got Randy Vasquez, who, man, has been running a miracle Houdini act so far this season with the average on batted balls in play, taking on the Tigers. Vasquez 5,500. Kiter Montero is going to start for the Tigers. DC, I haven't been using pitchers a lot against these Padres. I know that Montero is cheap, but also none of these guys outside of maybe Skubal and Mize are going to have long leashes at this point in the season. There is a healthy wind. Looks like 20 miles an hour blowing out to left field. I think that would favor the Padres. I think some of these right-handed bats for the Tigers are in play. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Vasquez has been frustrating for me, and I think a lot of RPS, and frankly, probably a lot of people in general. His advanced metrics just look absolutely brutal. Doesn't throw strikes, can't miss bats. It's been metric-wise, Vasquez is one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball, but results-wise, different story. He has limited the damage so far. And it really is lefties that you want against Vasquez. Problem is the Tigers missing their best one. Kerry Carpenter not in the lineup. He would have been a strong play from the left side against Vasquez. That leaves, McKinstry, Riley Green, who's done nothing all year, Colt Keith, Jace Young back from the minors, Trey Sweeney. Like, it's a really uninspiring group of lefties that the Tigers have. And then you throw out the tough ballpark, hitting in Tiger Stadium, one of the harder ballparks for home runs. And then the winds are out to, left field, not to right. So there's just kind of not a lot going for these lefties for the Tigers, other than obviously what I still think is a good matchup against Vasquez. So I found myself I just can't play Vasquez at 5,500 with some of his metrics, but I found myself not really wanting to play too many Tigers either against him. I do think all those lefties are in play just because the matchup on paper is so good. But I'm kind of out on Vasquez and the Tigers bats. And then the other side of it, Kiter Montero against the Padres. not as bad of matchup against the Padres for an opposing pitcher as it was. They lost Luis Arias, who I know is not a great fantasy option himself, but he is an absolute pest to play a pitcher against, right? Sees a whole bunch of pitches, never strikes out. Not the guy you want your pitchers going against. He's out of the lineup with the concussion IL. And then Jackson Merrill also out, another really, really good left-handed bat for the Padres. So not an impossible spot for Montero here, but the problem is Montero himself is not any good. I don't think good enough to take advantage of it, even at a low price point. So I'm out on Vasquez and Montero as pitching options. And yeah, I do think you can go to the Padres' big bats they have left, but that's really just Tatis and Machado, right? Beyond that, I'm not really a Xander Bogaerts guy. And this bottom of the lineup outside of Big T's guy, Martin Maldonado, doesn't look so great to me. So Tatis, Machado, absolutely in the pool. Gavin Sheets hitting between them, I think you've got to include. But, man, it falls off in a hurry after those guys. Tirso Ornelas does have some promise hitting fifth. He's minimum price as well, too. So I will include him. And I guess, if you're including for the top five, sure, plug in Bogaerts in there. Top five stack for the Padres does look okay to me. But I'm not going crazy here. These aren't among my favorite hitters on this slate. And even on a 6-game slate, this is one where I'll be under the field on most of the players in this game.
Ornelas, beefy 5-layer, is a top prospect for the Padres, brought up with some of the injuries that they have. Big T, Oscar Gonzalez is a walking strikeout. Then you've got Jose Iglesias. Tyler Wade is a platoon guy. And then your boy Martin Maldonado. What are your thoughts here on the Padres and the Tigers?
Yeah, so you got a lot of points with this game, and it's a short slate. I agree with a lot of the stuff DC said, but I also disagree a lot too, just because these are the two worst pitchers by far on the slate, at least in my opinion. And the bad part is the San Diego lineup is it's pretty tough to look at. But at some point, like you said, you guys got to have tiebreakers on a 6-game slate where a lot of it looks pretty similar. And for me, one of the big tiebreakers is just how much worse these two pitchers are than the rest of the slate, at least to me. So I'm just going to close my eyes and click the offense button in this game. I might, just because I got 150 in the $5, I might play a little Montero just because of how bad the lineup is from San Diego, especially in the bottom. But I can't play Vasquez no matter what. I don't love the Detroit lineup, but I love the matchup versus Vasquez. So I'm just choosing the matchup more than the bats. And I don't hate some of the guys at the top, especially McKinstry, Green, Torkelson. I mean, the middle. It is annoying because, we're missing someone in the lineup, right? Young, or who is it?
For
Detroit? I don't think
Chase Young is not in the player pool.
Which is annoying because I would definitely play him in the 6-hole lefty. I wish he was in there. That's annoying. But either way, I'm offense in this game. I like how Ornelas, or however you say his name, is a good prospect, 2K.
Yep.
I just have to take the matchup over how bad. I mean, these lineups are ugly, though. I'll admit that with DC. It's just I'm choosing to attack Vasquez. Detroit's got to be, if not my top offense, my top 3 of the 6 games tonight for sure.
All right, we will move on. Next game in New York, Phillies heading into Citi Field to take on the Mets. Aaron Nola, 8,300 against Tyler McGill, 7,200 for McGill. Aaron Nola's results so far this season have been about what they are every season. He starts off very, very slow traditionally, a little bit slower this year. And then Tyler McGill, kind of an average pitcher. Every now and then he'll spike a strikeout game. These Phillies look like they should be better than they are. They had a big output on, I believe it was Saturday. Of course, that was against one of the worst pitchers in the Marlins bullpen. What are your thoughts here on this game in New York, Big T?
Yeah, I mean, I forget who it was, probably DC that talked about it. Whoever was on the show with me last time talked about how Nola might be ready to fall off a little bit. I can't remember who it was, so I can't give credit. DC, it sounds like. And he went and just got bombed. And I know Stevers won a bunch of money that night with the Giant stack. And I haven't liked Nola as much either, so I liked hearing that. It's always good when you have like a take in your head that isn't backed up by anything, and then someone like DC or someone tells you that the numbers back it up too a little bit. So I like the Mets offense versus Nola, and I'm assuming Nola on this slate has to be getting some ownership, right? Like 20%,
mid-20s,
like. Yeah, I mean, which seems too high because the Mets to me are a bad matchup for a lot of pitchers with the middle of the lineup the way it is. They got a lot of tough outs. I think it's a tough matchup, so I'm not going to be on Nola at all, really. I might have a little in my 150, but not much. Definitely below the field. And I like the Mets offense. I think the Mets can really keep getting to Nola here. They've seen him a bunch. I'm not saying their BVP is amazing, but they've seen him a ton of at-bats against them, which I like because Nola's getting older and a lot of these guys are still somewhat young or just studs. So I like the Mets. I'm a little torn with the Philly because I think McGill's decent. And another thing, too, with the pitching tonight, a lot of these pitchers are just so cheap. They feel cheaper than they should be. Like McGill at 7,200. I know it's a somewhat tough matchup versus Philly, but you got somewhat cold weather, tough ballpark for hitting. I don't know. I don't love Philly, and their team total is pretty low too. It looks like even like Saber projected is low 4s. Feels like it should be higher to me, but it is a bad atmosphere for runs and stuff. So I don't know. I'm definitely on the Mets. I love the middle of the lineup: Nemo, Pete Alonso, Soto, Lindor, like everyone will. But I think the bottom of the lineup, I think you can sprinkle these guys in there too. 6-game slate, take some chances there, and then the lefties from Philly. I mean, Kepler down there. I don't love the bottom of the lineup. Like Real Muto, I'm not paying $4K for him towards the bottom. Top of the lineup, though, I mean, everyone's going to like the top of Philly. All these stud guys down to like Kepler for me. So I'm more offense here, though, for sure in this game.
DC, your thoughts here on the Phillies and the Mets?
Yeah, so McGill, I think, is fine at 7,200. Just, again, too cheap of a price point for him. I don't like him as much as Lodolo and Meyer. But I do still think he's in play. Of course, you can play these Phillies bets. I will say the park factors here, ballpark pal, which I use for a lot of the park factor stuff on a day-to-day basis, they think that's going to play really tough for hitters. Unfortunately, it doesn't. When I look at the weather and the wind, it doesn't seem like it should, but I do trust what Ballpark Pal puts out there, which has me a little higher on McGill than I anticipated being against the Phillies.
It's another thing I like you saying, though, because in my head, I look at the total, it's low, the park's bad, and it looks cold. So when you say that, it makes me like that. You reaffirm it.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because I wanted to play the Mets. I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to play the Mets against Nola just because I think he is far, far overrated in terms of the name value compared to what the skills currently are. I still think people see Aaron Nola and want to play him and don't want to play hitters against him, just kind of in general. Obviously, projections rule most things in the DFS world these days, but there's still a little bit of that where I don't think people see Aaron Nola and say, oh, I got to load up the hitters against him. So I'll still use these Mets bats. I mean, again, it's, of course, the top of the lineup and the expensive bats are the better ones to use. But, I mean, this Mets lineup does have a massive fall off, I think, after Brandon Nimmo. So I'm going to try to find a way to fit a lot of 4-man top of the lineup Mets stacks. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo, I think all look good against Nola. They've seen him a ton, like you mentioned, Big T. And a couple of these guys do have very strong BVP against Nola, specifically Pete Alonso, 57 plate appearances, 6 home runs, 1,100, 1,200 OPS, something like that. So he's crushed Nola, and then Soto's hit him very well as well. And Nola, I mean, to me, he's very clearly on the decline. So I'll take these bats who are swinging it well, Soto and Alonso in particular, but the top 4 all look good to me on the Mets, and I think they'll do damage to Nola here. Really tough umpire for Nola as well, who I do think needs those strikes, a couple inches outside the strike zone. Not going to get him tonight, most likely. So I think this Mets team could do some damage against Nola, who I just think doesn't quite have it anymore, and especially right now. So I'm big on the Mets. They are, despite the tough weather, my second favorite stack on the day. Completely passing on Aaron Nola. Not going to make my pool. McGill, a little bit on the fence whether I'm going to include him. I do think he's a much better play than Nola. And then it's really the top half of both these lineups that I think look good, especially the Mets side of the ball.
Just a couple of weeks into the season with Big T, and DC is talking about the BVP, the history of the batter against
I'm rubbing off on him.
We are a groupthink syndicate here.
If Big T didn't bring up the BVP, I might go longer before coming back to it. But
yeah,
he reminded me of it. I knew he liked my BVP stats, so I had to.
I actually really liked it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on here to the next game. St. Louis Cardinals heading into Atlanta, right here in Atlanta, where it is 70 degrees, very calm out, not too hot, not too cold. Eric Fetty at 6K against Spencer Schwellenbach, 9,500. The Braves, the highest implied total on the slate at 5.1 runs, which is not very high. Eric Fetty was sort of kind of like a one-year wonder. Really good start to the year with the White Sox. His advanced metrics so far, DC, suggest he's been very, 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 very lucky to not have been blown up completely. But we know how these Braves can be when they're popular, kind of tend to play turtle in these situations. What are your thoughts here on the Cardinals and the Braves?
Braves 3-0 with Alex Verdugo in the lineup. So they'll try to make it 4-0 tonight. Needed that Verdugo swag there.
Didn't hurt that Rocco Baldelli was the manager in the opposing dugout here for us for the weekend. So there you go.
That probably has more to do with it than Mr. Verdugo. But, I get why the Braves have the high total, best hitting environment here. Not perfect, but better than we see most of this slate. So I get it with the Braves. Certainly like them to some degree. Michael Harris starting to come around, like him in the 6 hole. Do like the lefties better in general. But yeah, you can absolutely go to this Braves stack. I do think they'll carry quite a bit of ownership, partly because they're still relatively cheap, right? Riley, the only one, 5K or over. I guess none of them are super cheap, but none of them super expensive either. So you can certainly afford those Braves bats. Again, Olsen, Harris, my two favorites. But yeah, most of these guys, all the way down to Murphy in the 7 hole, I think are pretty good plays against Eric Fetty, who, like you mentioned, just not a very good pitcher, not especially blow-up prone, but certainly not an arm to fear by any means. So I get it why the Braves are projected for more runs than anybody else. And then on the other side, I know Schwellenbach coming off a tough start against the Toronto Blue Jays. I really wouldn't look much at all into that one. The Blue Jays is one of those teams. They make so much contact, right? They're not a super dangerous lineup, but they just put the ball in play constantly. And sometimes, you come up against them and they string together 4 or 5 hits in a row, and things don't go well. So I think that's just what happened to Schwellenbach. Looked into him, didn't see anything alarming whatsoever. I would expect him to be back to his normal self in this one against the Cardinals lineup that, again, not the highest strikeout matchup in the world, but also not a lot of bats you really fear in there for a guy like Schwellenbach. Nootbaar, Donovan, I think, are their best hitters right now. And those guys aren't world beaters by any means. So Schwellenbach on the short list at starting pitcher for me. Certainly going to make room for plenty of Schwellenbach in my lineups. I do think he's the safest option. I think Lodolo has as much upside as Schwellenbach. But if you're talking about, who's more likely to get you 15 plus or 20 plus, I think it's definitely Schwellenbach over someone like Lodolo. So very high on Schwellenbach here. No interest in Fetty. Not going to really any Cardinals bats outside of maybe Nootbaar and Donovan. And yeah, the Atlanta Braves, got to include those guys. Think they've got as much upside as any team tonight on this slate.
Big T, thoughts here on the Cardinals and popular Atlanta Braves?
Yeah, I think you have to have some Braves, but I'm definitely going to be lower than the field. I just cringe when I see some of these guys. I mean, Nick Allen, you guys make fun of me for my platoons. He's so bad.
Is he not on Team Platoon?
He's like a platoon guy that sucks. I forget what speech I gave them one day. Like, he's on the list, but he's like on the freshman team of the platoon and not the JV, not even
work his way up to varsity. I don't know if that's going to happen.
He's not even allowed to suit up. Like, he's strictly on the early game, and then he's got to sit in the crowd because he's bad. And
when's senior day? We can get Nick Allen in there on senior day.
Yeah, senior day, maybe he gets a start. Like, if you get like a really bad lefty, like who's just a terrible, like Patrick Corbin or something throwing meatballs, like he can get the start that day for me when it really lines up. But man, it's bad. I just don't love the Braves lineup. Don't get me wrong, it's a 6-game slate. I'm playing 150 teams in the $5. I'm definitely going to have some Brave stacks, but I want to be under the field. I'm not going to have them on my main team that I'm putting in stuff. I agree with Schwellenbach too. I think he's the safest and one of the best plays. I'm going to have a ton, but I'm definitely going to have some Cardinals too. With the slate being short, I already didn't like offense in the Miami game. I'm not going to like offense in one of those later games, if not both of those later games. I just need more stacks, and JT's done a great job of this. Is he'll always find some stacks, even with the teams he doesn't like. He'll get some teams in there. I've seen how he does it, and he's crushed with the Saber Sim. So I want to get better. I might even have Schwellenbach on my main team, but I'm definitely going to have some Cardinals stacks. I think they could get it going at a super low ownership on a 6-game slate. So JT, I'm learning from you. I put on my yellow. I'm learning from you.
Yes, I have crushed with SaberSim. All right, that covers Cardinals and the Braves. We got 2 games left. Go ahead and drop any questions that you might have into the chat. We'll do our best to answer them. Next game up, Big T. This one's in Houston. The Toronto Blue Jays head in there, take on the Astros. Kevin Gausman at 8K against an Astros lineup that is mostly underwhelmed against right-handed pitching. Takes on Hunter Brown at 9K. Hunter Brown to start this year, absolutely phenomenal strikeout to walk ratio, absolutely phenomenal ground ball rate. Jays just aren't a lineup that you can really love. Just like we're talking about with a lot of these teams. You look at that bottom 4, maybe 5 of the last 7, and it's like, ooh, man, this is tough. What are your thoughts here on the Jays and the Astros?
You said me, right?
Yes, sir.
Tough. I mean, it's tough for offense. And Gausman, this is another game. I don't understand why Gausman's only 8K. Like, he's been good. He can strike out. He's got upside. I know that the Houston's not like known for a big strikeout team, and neither is Toronto, really. But these pitchers, to me, look like the cream of the crop. Like, I think they're both great plays. They both have upside. They're both cheap. I don't really fear either lineup. I mean, sure, there's some guys in there like the top of Houston, the top of Toronto. They got good guys, but you got so many just dumpsters in there that can help turn the lineups over that I'm just on the pitchers. I like the pitchers a lot. There's a few one-offs, though, in this game. Like Santander, I think's a really good one-off play. Jimenez, I like Jimenez a lot. And then on the Houston side, obviously, I'm always going to like Jordan. At the bottom of the lineup, I like that Cam Smith dude. I like him a lot as like a cheap guy. But I don't think I'm going to stack either one of these teams. They're just more mini stack, one-off type plays. But I like both pitchers. I think both pitchers are rock solid. Just like that first game, I think you can use them together. You can separate them. I'm 100% more pitching than hitting here.
DC, Jays and Astros, I wrote this in the playbook. Gausman coming off of 2 good games against the Red Sox and the Atlanta Braves. When the Atlanta Braves were at their worst, that's when Gausman got to face them. My concern, as always, with Gausman is, can he control that split finger a 3rd game in a row? And I don't know about that. What are your thoughts here on the Jays and the Astros?
Yeah, Gausman's a tough one to predict on a start-to-start basis because of that splitter. That's by far his best pitch. And you just have no idea, right, what kind of command he's going to have over it. I mean, there's just no possible way to know. I don't think he could tell you right now what kind of command he's going to have over it. So he does make him a difficult pitcher to predict relative to others. However, this Astros team, I mean, outside of Altuve and Jordan, who frankly themselves aren't, tearing the cover off the ball to start the year, this Astros lineup just falls off in a hurry. I don't know what they were thinking with their roster construction. I mean, they'd have no left-handed bats outside of Jordan Alvarez, literally the only one in there. And that's not just tonight. That's an every night thing. So, yeah, I love this spot for Gausman at 8K against just the one lefty. Seems like a great spot. He's looked good this year, kind of revitalized, I think. Even last year, he was awful at home and good on the road, gets to pitch on the road here in Houston. I'm in on Gausman, very high on him at 8K. Not playing any Astros outside of Alvarez. You got to include him, in my opinion, even though he struggled just because of the upside. But he's really the only one I want against Gausman, which, that makes you, I think, have confidence in Gausman, right? If you don't want any hitters against him at all, then I think it's a pretty good move that you probably want the pitcher. Hunter Brown against the Blue Jays is interesting. I believe in Hunter Brown. Very, very good young pitcher, going to get close to 100 pitches pretty much every time out. The problem is this Blue Jays team, just like the king of weak contact. They don't have a single hitter in their lineup with over a 20% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. So it's a lot of ground balls and, weakly hit fly balls, which is not really a stack I want to use, but it's just hard to put up a big score against the Blue Jays, right? You kind of need the batted ball luck on your side, which could certainly happen, but it's a hard thing to predict. And Brown's not super cheap, right? He's 9K. So I think his outs prop is one that I bet, but I just don't know if the strikeouts are going to be there DFS-wise. I think he's a fine play, but I prefer Gausman, Lodolo, Schwellenbach. I prefer those guys all to Hunter Brown. So a little bit lower on him. I get the play, and I'm not using the Blue Jays against him either, but I just kind of think this could be a situation where Brown pitches well, but maybe it's 17 or 18 fantasy points. Not sure that's quite enough, even on a shorter slate. So mostly out on that, but really, really high on Gausman here. I think we see a big performance out of him.
All right. Last game of the night. This one out in San Francisco. Milwaukee Brewers heading into San Francisco. Quinn Priester at 6,600 against Robbie Ray at 7,500 DC. Robbie Ray is projected to be the second highest pitcher on the slate. And I wrote about him extensively in the playbook because I did a bit of a dive on him once seeing the ownership, plus I had to do the playbook. Everything that he throws is down in velocity. Across the board, his advanced metrics are not just underperforming, but well below major league average.
Yeah.
And the walk rate is extremely high. This suggests to me that this is a pitcher that knows he doesn't have the arsenal to challenge hitters. And that's why you're seeing 4, 5, 6 walks a game. This is not a park that we normally target. I like this spot a lot for the Milwaukee Brewers. What are your thoughts?
I'm 100% with you. The Brewers, by far, my favorite stack on this entire slate. Can't say that often going into San Francisco, but Robbie Ray, he's always had big struggles with control, even when he's been good, even when he won a Cy Young back in 2020 or 2021, something like that. He walked guys even then, and now, like you said, the velocity's down, the control's down. He's had another arm surgery since then, and just all over the place. You watch him pitch, and he doesn't know where it's going. It's not like he's even nibbling. It's that he oftentimes literally cannot throw a strike. I love stacking against pitchers like that. You can run on Robbie Ray. The Brewers, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? They stole 6
Ran
bases.
all over the place. Yep.
Yeah, just running wild. And that's something they're going to continue to do. They got a lot of speed in their lineup. You can run on Ray, like I said. They've even got enough power from the right side. I mean, Churio, Contreras, Hoskins, all those guys are capable of taking Ray deep out to left field in this one. And then, the guys that don't have power, Frelick and Turang, these guys, Ortiz, these guys love to steal bases. So I see a lot of upside in this Brewers lineup. Giants, couple best relievers look like they should be unavailable in this game, including their closer. I'm in JT on the Brewers tonight. And maybe we're missing something with the projection on Robbie Ray. The prop market seems to like him some too, but I don't see it with Robbie Ray. So I'm happy to completely fade him, load up on the Brewers, and hope for the best. If it doesn't work out tonight, we'll try again tomorrow. But I'm in on the Brewers with you. Other side of it, Quinn Priester. I don't think he's great, and he looks like he's got some pretty severe splits. Really struggles against lefties. Giants got a couple of them near the top of the order that are swinging good bats early on. Mike Yastrzemski and Jung-Hoo Lee, I think, are the top plays against Priester. I'll have plenty of both those guys. Some full stacks of the Giants as well, but those two guys are the ones that I want the most exposure to.
Big T, this sets up and reminds me a lot like yesterday where I saw Charlie Morton at 15% ownership. Charlie Morton had a 5.5K prop. Charlie Morton had a 16 or 17.5 outs prop. I think we're watching a pitcher in decline in Robbie Ray. What are your thoughts here on the Brewers and the Giants?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a fun show if I agreed with everything you guys said. But, man, you guys can have the freaking Brewers in this park against Robbie Ray. You guys have fun with that.
Come on down, Milwaukee. You can have. That's good.
I've been winning these arguments this year on these shows. Tonight, you got Milwaukee, I got Robbie Ray. We'll check back later this week with the show. I mean, yeah, he walks guys, but he's always walked guys. The park sucks. The Brewers lineup's horrible. You guys can have fun with that dumpster truck of a team. And the same thing with the Giants. I mean, Priester, I'm pretty sure he's a ground ball pitcher, right? Or am I totally wrong?
I mean, I don't think we have a large enough sample size to say what he is.
What's the small sample say?
League average.
League average, so nothing. Okay. From what I've seen, every time, just I think he's not a guy I want to target. And yeah, I'm not going to be super heavy on the pitchers just because I like a lot of other spots that we talked about, but definitely no hitters from me here. I'm going to let you guys have fun with that late stack. I'm going to watch the Nuggets game and I'm going to laugh at this game being 3-1.
All right. Well, I mean, here's the thing, Big T, as we've talked about, you get 5-6 runs out of your stack tonight, you're going to be pretty happy.
Someone's going to put up runs, though. There's always one team that just spurts out. That's why stacking is so good.
It could happen. Could happen. Monday nights have been a little bit lower scoring, but okay. All right.
Tigers. I'll take the Tigers versus Vasquez. You can take the Brewers versus friggin' Robbie Ray.
I'll take that bet considering what the Padres bullpen is going to throw out there the minute that Randy Vasquez luck runs out.
Yeah.
All right.
We can go side. I'll just total runs. I'll take Tigers. You take Brewers.
I'll take Brewers. I'll take
what? Lunch one day.
We'll do lunch. We'll do lunch.
Maybe
I'll buy you another yellow shirt.
Now we're talking. Now I like actually, where your head's at.
For a Savannah Bananas baseball uniform.
Yeah.
And then we'll have another bet where you'll wear it on the show. I love this. I love this.
When I win, you got to wear it, though.
That's fine. I'll wear it.
Yeah, I like that bet. That's our bet then. Whoever scores more tonight's got to wear the full, what'd you call it? The bananas?
Bananas. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Whoever loses has got to wear that on the show on Monday.
Tigers versus Brewers. Book it if you are in the Discord. You guys can certainly be keeping score, letting us know who's ahead and who's not. It's going to be exciting when Randy Vasquez shuts down the Tigers.
The good part for you is you're later, so you got a chance either way. How sick are you going to be when the Tigers score 2 and you still lose?
We did see how excited he got. All right,
I was pretty excited. I'm not gonna
all right, let's do the plays of the day. Let's do the pitcher that's going to be most important to your success. Winnie the Pooh isn't missing. He's over there, but I've got Quinn behind me, and it's been a long day here. I'll just say it's been a long day. Started off this morning. My wife woke me up because she couldn't open the garage door. So
should have thrown her one of those 10 stacks you got. Tell her.
Let's just say I would have had a different way of resolving the situation, but I just said, whatever you would like to do. Whatever you would like to do. Take my car? Of course. No problem. Okay. Big T, who's the pitcher that's going to be most important to your success tonight?
Definitely Max Meyer. I love him tonight, and I love the price. 7,600 in that park versus my Reds. I absolutely love Meyer tonight.
DC?
I won't go with Meyer, but I am in on the Meyer train. I will go with Mr. Gaussman. Will be important for me.
I see a comeback for Schwellenbach. So I'm going to have a lot of him. He's going to be popular. I understand that. DC team that's going to be most important to your success tonight. We're both on the Brewers, so you got to pick a second team.
Oh, all right. Well, one is clearly the Brewers, but New York Mets. I like them against Mr. Nola.
All right. Big T.
I mean, the Tigers. You know the Tigers. The Tigers, baby.
Chalk Tigers. All right. I like it.
This is you get the chat on this too. You're trying to tell me when you say the Chalk Tigers. What are they?
They're not. They're not even that highly on. All right. I'm going to have a lot. I'm going to have a bunch of Lodolo, but I'm going to hope that a couple of these Marlins pop one out on them, and I'm going to play some mini stacks of the Marlins. So I'll give that. I'm not sure if that'll be what my core is, but as noted, we will be in the Discord. Core plays will be up. Big T's player pools for everything will be up. Slate Builder is up. The Boom Report just went up. The Boom Report is all over a team that I'm not going to tell you because you got to be a subscriber. So hop over in there and see the Boom Report. Use code RPS15.
Is it a sneaky team? I'm curious now. Is it sneaky? It better not be the freaking Brewers. Were you sandbagging me this whole time with the Boom?
I mean, I can't.
Sandbagging son of a bitch. It was
the Boom Report just came out. I was on the Brewers since I wrote.
You were sandbagging me, weren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm just not going to give it away to everybody.
Brewers could be all the way at the bottom of the list, and I'm not.
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter where
you are. DC.
I don't
the more I
live.
make fun of it, the more you love it.
By the way, I don't live by the Boom. The Boom has been good, but the Boom wasn't on the Reds. The Boom wasn't on the Tampa Bay Rays.
There you go. Beat your chest, JT. Show the Boom who's boss.
I'm myself. With that said, guys, Rhys Hoskins is hitting a home run tonight. DC, who's hitting a home run?
For it. Home run.
Rhys Hoskins, though.
You know what?
Big T, he's on the Brewers, by the way. He's on the Brewers, Rhys Hoskins.
Thank you for that update.
Home run call. Give me Pete Alonso getting another one off Aaron Nola.
All right. Pete Alonso, Rhys Hoskins. Those are both first basemen. Big T, who's your home run call of the night?
Definitely two of them, too. Riley Green for two-piece tonight.
Riley Green back for two.
Yeah.
Uncle T says Matt Olson. All right. Matt hit one yesterday. Looks like maybe he's coming out of his
Riles golf ball. Maldonado. That was my second choice. Maldonado.
Oh my God. All right. So as I said, get in the Discord. Core players will be up. Everything will be up. We appreciate you hanging out with us. For DC, for Big T, tune in next Monday to see who's got to wear the Savannah Bananas uniform. Good luck in your contests tonight.